Welcome to Eco Air Flight 13760 to Edinburgh. In the interest of the environment, we'll be travelling at approximately 0 feet with a cruising speed of as fast as we can. Estimated journey time is about 5 weeks.
Welcome to the Scrapheap Challenge Final, where our two top teams face another epic build to decide who wins this, the coveted Scrapheap Champions Cup.
And this week, we've got a seriously heavyweight challenge. Our teams must make tugs capable of towing this massive 747 jumbo jet. It'll be no mean feat to get moving, as it weighs a hefty 155 tonnes. But it's time we got rolling and met the teams who made it all the way through to the final.
Returning to the heat are a team of Blackpool's balmiest bikers. These bad boys of the north love life in the fabrication fast lane. Leader of the pack is Captain Coxey, and he's ably assisted by his mechanically minded scavengers, Grobbo and Tony. Welcome back, the Dark Riders.
Also ready for battle are a team of military vehicle enthusiasts from deepest, darkest Berkshire. Having spent years playing with big boys' toys, the Scrapheap's a natural fit for these heavyweight heroes. They're led by Captain Bob, who dishes out orders to loyal scavengers Paul and Check. Attention! It's the Rusty Regiment!
Welcome, finalists. Now, you'll need to punch above your weight to be crowned champions of the heap, because this week's challenge is a colossus. We want you to build machines capable of pulling a jumbo jet.
Let's hope that doesn't weigh heavy on your hearts, as you've just 10 hours to build your talky land tugs. Get hauling on the sound of the gong.
Wait for it, teams, wait for it.
Steady, steady.
Jumbo jet, eh? Tugging a jumbo jet, any ideas?
Big.
Heavy.
Plenty of weight's going to give us traction in it.
Chuffing great engine. We need something with low enough gearing, because the problem's going to be getting it started.
There's going to be a big axle then, isn't it?
As much weight as we can get.
I'm all right for about 10 tonne of that.
As you'd expect, our finalists are brimming with ideas, but to keep them on the straight and narrow, we've brought in two Scrapheap regulars who live for heavy haulage.
Hoping to bring some discipline to the Rusty Regiment is a Scrapheap veteran whose bodging knows no bounds. Petrol, diesel or steam, he doesn't care. The man's magic hand should make light work of this heavy metal challenge. A warm welcome back for Richard Turbo Vincent.
So what have you guys been thinking then?
We're thinking big A.
There we go.
The Rusty Regiment's plan is to keep things super simple. They hope to find a weighty chassis and add a powerful engine and tons of ballast. That should give them plenty of traction and heaps of horsepower, but if they don't get the gearing right, they'll never leave the start line.
It's just got to be a big chef and heavy thing that'll pull 155.
Superb.
Helping the Dark Riders move from 2 wheels to 4 is a truck mechanic and master of all things motorised. He's got a pedigree past on the Scrapheap, where he excelled in both land and water challenges, so pulling that jumbo should be no sweat for this seasoned pro. He's Steve Matthews.
What ideas you got there?
Well, obviously, we need something with a lot of weight, a lot of torque, a lot of weight to get the traction. Some big, meaty engine, reduction gear down. There's 3 things: weight, torque, reduction gearing.
That's right, you got it on the head. What have you got there? Just one drive axle?
Yeah. Well, that's all we concentrate. I mean, obviously, we're going to need something, but...
What if we go for 2 drive axles? If you go 4-wheel drive, you've got the front axle under the engine. So he's got weight already.
Weight on there, yeah.
And the back axle you have to ballast up. Say this is your drive wheels then. We get another axle, tip him sideways, and we put an angle drive on the top, and then off your end there into your diffs here.
The Dark Riders plan to convert a 2-wheel drive lorry into a 4x4. They'll connect front and back axles using a third axle, mounted lengthways. This will give them lots more traction. But with a massive drive connections needed, it's a risky plan. 1 week weld, and it's all over.
Whatever truck you can find out there, I'm still with the engine in, because we won't have time to be swapping engines.
No.
So what do we need?
Big engine,
We want lots of prop shafts,
big heavy weights.
a steel box for some ballast.
Right, my beauties,
Go.
fly!
Avante. All right, let's go and get it, lads.
Both sets of scavengers hurtle onto the heap in search of rich pickings, but which of our finalists will hit the scrap jackpot?
Find out after the break.
Welcome back to Scrapheap Challenge, where we've asked our teams to build aircraft tugs from tat. Nice.
Tooled from tat they may be.
Or first, with this old horse lorry that's been rusting away on the heap for years.
Cut size of this.
This is the boy, what?
But it's big enough, isn't it? I think it's going to be one of the things, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get this running.
Hey Grubbo, Tony, what are you doing out there, lads? You know, we could do with some stuff back here.
We think we found a 10-ton cargo.
Oh, cargo, you made Steve's day, mate.
It looks just the job.
Yeah, well, get it back here. Get something back here. We need to be doing something.
All right, mate.
There's a map in case we get lost.
But the Rusty Regiment also have their eyes on some hefty horsepower.
What sort of an engine is it? Is it a Perkins, is it? There's some sort of Gert diesel,
It's a
isn't it?
V8. It's a V8 Perkins and it is large.
Paul.
Yes, Bob, I found a V8 with a box. It looks like it's been bashed about a bit, but it's all here.
Bring it on.
Bring it on home, boys.
Okay, we'll have to get something to lift it because it's too much for me to carry.
Oh, come on, put your back into it, man. Come on, let's have a go at it. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to hurt.
Sadly, Czech's superhuman powers seem to have temporarily deserted him.
It's even got a nail in it. It just needs a knocking stick.
But there's better luck for the Dark Riders with their thoroughbred find. Its working engine and decent chassis makes them early favourites.
I don't know how many horses it's got under the bonnet, that's the main thing.
Yeah. Not going to go in? Bring it on in.
Even finding time to psych out their opponents with a trial
The
run.
competition doesn't start till tomorrow.
And when it came to the real thing, their nimble machine made short work of the sand traps, blasting them into the semi-finals. Motorbikes and snow don't usually mix, but that didn't stop the lads sneaking one into their snow shifting machine. Mounted on the front of a 4x4, it was used to power a giant snow munching fan. Both teams struggled to conquer the slopes on test day, but the Dark Riders machine did just enough to carry them into the final.
The Dark Riders!
But how will the lads cope with their biggest challenge yet?
If I pull this and you push that,
Right.
it
Oh,
should,
we got it.
it should
It's coming, Big's moving.
There
There we go.
Give us a push.
Where's it going to go?
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Keep going.
That's him. It's locks in.
Is that in?
I got it.
Very nice. Look at the size of this thing. It suddenly looks a lot bigger once it's in here, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. It does,
Big,
yeah.
hefty fella.
The engine sounds good, so so that's a good start.
What's the step-by-step process from now on?
Well, basically, we've got to get the gearing right down. We've got a 130 horsepower engine here. We've got to get as maximum torque out of that, so as lower ratio. We might end up using that drive axle, but we're
Right.
certainly going to swap the steer axle, so the steer axle drives as well.
So you get forward, effectively.
Four-wheel drive, yeah. We're thinking of using an axle long ways on. That'll give us an extra 4-to-1 ratio.
And what, you put an axle in that way?
In that way, yeah.
Right.
In the middle.
And then take the drive off the
Confused?
differential.
Don't be. The boys' clever design should kill two birds with one stone. The Dark Riders want to swap the front axle from their two-wheel drive lorry for the driven axle from another vehicle. They'll transfer power through a 90-degree box to a third axle, which will give them four-wheel drive, increasing traction. The third axle's added bonus is that its differential acts as a second gearbox, reducing their gear ratio and vastly improving the torque, or turning force, at the wheels.
We've got plenty of weight under the steer axle with the engine, and then it's just a matter of ballasting down the
So
back.
then you'll then put more weight on that. Will you leave the length of the chassis as it is, or you might?
We'll see. We might chop it.
We might chop it. It depends on the length of the axle and drivetrain.
Yeah.
Right.
Then we've got to get something substantial on the back to hook up to this little plane.
Yes, because you don't want it. Yes, that would be embarrassing if your hook broke off.
It would slightly, yeah.
So while the Dark Riders gallop ahead with their horse lorry, the Rusty Regiment are left wondering what's happened to their AWOL foot soldiers.
It's the worst bit, isn't it?
It's the worst bit.
Worst bit. Waiting for something to happen.
Do you think he's going to sleep down there, Bob?
Oh, he's always going to sleep down there.
Wake him up then, for Christ's sake. I should go down there and kick his you know where.
But they needn't worry. Paul and Czech are alive and well.
Engine.
They've a heavy equipment holds no fear for these boys.
Military vehicle nuts, the Rusty Regiment, had to put aside their usual mode of transport when we asked them to build a powerboat.
Come on, boys, keep it up.
The lads had their ups and downs during the scavenge, but it all came together in the end thanks to their back-to-basics design.
That'll be just dandy. Wet feet. Wonder if we got any wellies handy.
And what a design it was!
I think there's actually a scrap-filled powerboat on the plane!
Powered by a beefy V6 hearse engine, they absolutely barreled along, breaking Scrapheap speed records and leaving the opposition floundering in their wake. Next up, the lads faced our deep-sea treasure hunt with a new scavenger, Czech. The build was going well until Captain Bob burnt his hand.
How?
And they struggled to overcome this setback.
3, 2, 1.
But on test day, their brave, or is that insane, expert donned their scrappy air and are finally off the blocks with their first piece of scrap.
Let's have 2 spanners, have them off. Have the inlet, have that off out the way, because that's only going to be in our way.
Okay. See if I can find a bigger screwdriver.
Just want a hacksaw, Bob.
Yeah.
That huge V8 gets the thumbs up from Expert Turbo, but it's not much use without a chassis. That forklift's been missing in action all morning. With their crucial components sorted, Turbo winds up for some hard graft, while Armchair General Bob settles back, content to watch an expert at work.
The Dark Riders are spoilt for choice on the axle front thanks to their super quick scavengers, and Steve's already picked out a favourite.
Well, this is Russian.
How do you know it's Russian?
I can tell by the wheel nuts.
Yeah.
It's a Russian Zero. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's definitely Russian.
This beefy Cold War relic is just the ticket because it's got a drive input, which means it can be powered as well as steered. It's the perfect replacement for the standard steering-only axle on their lorry.
So it's going anti to go forward, and that's what we want.
Right.
So with both teams getting stuck into their scrap, it's time to meet a man who's no mug when it comes to tugs.
Watching over this week's challenge is a stalwart employee of Douglas Equipment, world-leading manufacturers of aircraft tugs. An industry insider who knows all about this week's 3 T's: traction, torque and towing. He's the perfect man to tell us if our teams are on track. He's Mike Doan.
Welcome to Scrapheap, Mike. Very nice to have you here. Thank you very much for coming, because we don't really know what we're doing here, as you may have guessed. The first question really is, what is the absolute key ingredient that the teams need to get in order to pull a jumbo jet?
The important thing is to develop traction, to have your engine power, your drive line, your gear ratios such that you can get the pull you require. But to develop that pull, you need weight over the drive wheels.
Yeah.
And we're talking about pulling a 747 that weighs about 150 tons. So as a rule of thumb, to actually unstick and move the aircraft, you actually need about 4% of the aircraft's weight.
Right.
And allowing for wet ground conditions with the weather we have at the moment, they're going to need a vehicle that has at least 10 tons over the drive axle.
Right. But one of the other crucial ingredients is actually making the wheels turn. You basically want the wheels turning slowly, but with enormous force.
More force, that's right.
And Rob's hit the nail on the head. Turning force, or torque, is the key to success in this week's challenge. A gearbox allows you to control the amount of torque transmitted from the engine to the wheels. The lower no way that V8's going to fit lengthways.
No, because I know you won't be able to fit in the engine.
Expert Turbo has a drastic solution.
If we could chop the tank.
Well, if you come forward to this line here.
No. If you cut it off here, you're going to be everyone's going to want to be in the same space.
You won't go for a chop the tank, do you?
I think that's the easiest way. Your call. You got to work it.
After their slow scavenge, a massive cut and shut job is the last thing the lads need. The regiment will have to pull out all the stops if they're going to catch their opponents.
Will the Dark Riders beat the most axles ever used on Scrapheap record? Can the Rusty Regiment shoehorn a V8 into a forklift truck? Is there intelligent life beyond the stars?
Yeah, for the answer to some of these questions, join us after the break.
Welcome back to Scrapheap Challenge, where our teams are turning jettison junk into awesome aircraft tugs.
And they're fighting it out for this, the Scrapheap Champions Cup. But it won't be an easy battle. Their tow tugs must haul this massive 155-ton jumbo jet.
Military machine obsessives, the Rusty Regiment, and expert Turbo have decided to cram a V8 into a forklift, hoping for huge horsepower and lots of grip from its massive weight.
Because what we've got to do is make it longer.
They spent an age getting those components back, only to discover that their engine and gearbox wouldn't fit inside the forklift chassis.
So the easiest way to do this is to cut this tank in half, cut that tank in half, and weld round some bits of plate and make it longer.
Yeah.
Next door, Blackpool bikers, the Dark Riders, and their expert Steve plan to convert a Ford lorry into a 4x4 using a lengthways third axle. This should provide more traction and lots of torque to help them shift that jumbo.
You leave that there, it gives me a bit of leverage then. Alright, you ready, Tom?
They've got to free that axle up because it's the central part of their complex 4x4 plan.
It says to me it's stuck or something.
The power from the Dark Rider's engine takes a tortuous route to get to the wheels. The lorry's gearbox is connected to a 90-degree box, which in turn is coupled to an axle-mounted lengthways. The axle's differential then splits the power to the front and rear wheels, giving them four-wheel drive and a lower gear ratio. In theory, it's a brilliant plan. But add a 155-ton jumbo into the equation, and each connection is a potential breaking point.
A Rusty Regiment, Dark Riders, you have 5 hours remaining today. 5 hours. Time remaining halfway through, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let's crack on there, lads.
The Dark Rider's day is going rapidly downhill.
So, Mike, there's been a lot of activity, but there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of change. I mean, they're big, complicated builds, aren't they?
Our judge may rate the Dark Rider's 4x4 design, but then he hasn't got to build it. Captain Coxey's only just started on that freshly freed third axle. Grobbo's got a plethora of prop shafts to contend with. And Tony's still wrestling with that front axle.
At some stage we're going to have to chop some off back of here. Well, right, I can't see it being an advantage keeping all
drag coefficient and the traction and everything else. Yeah, we've worked it all out.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Next door, it's the moment of truth for the Rusty Regiment.
I think that'll be too high.
They may only have one drive connection to worry about, but their entire challenge depends upon it.
We've got about 2 inches this side.
No, you're going to have to go down a tad.
Down a tad, yeah. Right. Gently in.
Just touch.
Wait to do it now.
Paul, is he welding up to it?
Yeah. Are you awake? Yeah.
Okay, so what have we got to do? We've got to put
the back end on.
Ends back together.
Some seats, connect up the throttle, the gear linkage, and the clutch. We may have some brakes.
Do you think brakes are going to be necessary?
We'll throw a jumbo jet out the back.
Stopping their lorry is of no concern to the Dark Riders. They're far more worried about getting it moving in the first place.
I wanted that in by 2 hours to go. Really.
Yeah.
There's an hour's work fitting that on its own.
Yeah.
With no time left to beef up hub connections, they've got to stick the axle in and hope for the best. The Dark Riders have lost their early lead.
Next door, one-man welding band Paul's got half of the forklift solid. If only his teammates were working as hard.
How you doing, Jack?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah. So let's really just put it up there and weld it on. It ain't got to be pretty. It ain't got to be great.
Drop it down the bottom one.
I know you're not doing it on purpose, but this is hurting my back.
They may have the simpler build, but the team can't afford to take their eye off the ball.
Okay, boys, relax. I'm pretty sure that'll hold there.
Pockets! Christ's sake! Let's get the stuff for the hitch and get motivated.
Motivation hasn't been a problem next door, but the Dark Rider's intricate build has held them back. That third axle's only roughly in place, and there's a mass of drive connections that need sorting. And it soon becomes apparent there's a serious problem.
We're struggling for other gas.
Extending their chassis is a drastic solution at such a late stage.
Teams, the day is drawing to a close. You have 1 hour remaining today. 1 hour remaining. Thank you.
We're going to struggle to get this done in an hour.
It's time for the lads to show some northern grit and cut, shut and weld like never before. Stops to get their aircraft tugs ready for action, but it's the Dark Riders who've got it all to do.
They're blitzing that chassis extension with 2 welders going flat out. But they still need to get that third axle connected and get their tow bar sorted.
Next door, it looks like Turbo's Sergeant Major Act has paid off. The Rusty Regiment are finally working together as a team. With their controls...
Brilliant. Yeah, good job.
Get in there.
Yeah, get there. 2 braces in there now and we're done.
And it's not one of the really complicated measurements that you need long sums with brackets on. It's like from there to there.
Yeah.
I've got to move on with the drawbar hitch now,
Yeah.
so can I leave that to you now?
Yeah.
That should fit now and it's cool.
Well, it even sounds like the Rusty Regiment are trying their engine. I mean, it is bizarre how they turned around in the last few hours.
Got any marshmallows? Give it some.
That V8's throaty roar is the icing on the cake for the Rusty Regiment, who've once again pulled it together in the last hours of the build.
Next door, the Dark Riders may be done in, but at least that last coupling's done up. But such a frantic finish means they'll have a very busy tinker time.
Oh,
Well over the odds. I think so. Let's give them the gong. OK, teams, your 10 hours are up, and it's time for your plane pullers to head for the departure lounge.
Bring it on.
Let's hope your machines will have the muscle for tomorrow's jumbo test. Well done, team.
Well done.
Our teams have spent 10 tortuous hours building their aircraft tugs. But who'll be hoisting the Scrapheap Champions Cup? Will it be the Rusty Regiment and their horsepower-heavy, fire-breathing forklift? Or will the Dark Riders' low-geared 4x4 lorry take the trophy? Find out after the break.
Welcome back to Scrapheap Challenge, where our teams are readying their aircraft tugs for the ultimate test in torque and traction.
The challenge is superficially simple. They must pull this 155-ton jumbo jet from a standing start down 200 metres of runway to the finish line. The team with the fastest time will be the winners of the Scrapheap Challenge final.
But before battle commences, our finalists are making full use of the traditional tinker time. Aside from the usual fiddling and fettling, both teams need to add the tons and tons of ballast that they've hand-picked from our heap.
I was very worried about the Dark Riders last night, particularly the problems they were having with their prop shaft and everything. And now I've seen this. It makes me even more worried.
Well, with the Dark Riders, yes, they had the problem with the prop shaft. They've lengthened the chassis. They've certainly got the gear reduction to get the torque, I think. Because they've got a relatively small engine, then their problem is, I think, once they move the aircraft, is to get the speed. Right. If we look at the Rusty Regiment, they've gone the other way. I mean, they were able to drop the engine straight in a direct couple, so there was no transfer box at the end of the day. But if they can develop the traction and get the aircraft moving, then they've got the more powerful engine.
Right.
And so they've got a chance of towing it at a higher speed. So but it's all about getting that aircraft moving initially.
Really moving, that is the difficult thing, was going to be getting it moving in the first place. And it's moving! Come on, guys!
Well, that's accelerated quite nicely.
Clutch right up. Let the clutch right up, Foxy.
That's it, just get to a nice cruising speed. Look at that, baby, go.
That is incredible. That is, nothing is broken.
And it's faster than I thought it would be,
actually going at it. Yeah, you can really see it moving, yeah.
Go on, slowly increase it.
So that is probably as fast as they can go now, but I mean, that's a very decent speed.
It is a decent speed.
That is pretty impressive, I have to say. 155 tons of jumbo jet being pulled by a machine built on a scrap heap. I'm impressed.
We're going to do this!
So they obviously have enough weight on for traction.
Yeah.
They've certainly got the torque there, and the gear reduction.
Very impressive.
Very impressive indeed, yeah.
Because they've got no brakes, so we're just hoping it will stop.
Dark Riders, you've got to be pleased with that.
Oh,
Pleased
magic. Brilliant.
That'll do that one. That'll do.
That was exactly what you were looking for, wasn't
That's
it?
what we wanted, yeah.
Exactly what we're supposed to do.
All the way
6th gear, that.
How fast do you think you went?
Well, 3 miles an hour.
In our first run of the day, the Dark Riders gave it their best shot, setting a blistering time of 1 minute 34 seconds. But have they done enough to win the Scrap Heap Challenge final?
Rusty Regiment. Any nerves there, Captain Bob?
A little bit, but we're confident.
You are brimming with confidence. That's what we like to see. Turbo.
Well, I think there's a fair chance. It's a nice colour green, isn't it?
It's a beautiful green. It's looking fantastic. You're all hooked up. Do your very best. I'll see you after.
It's going to sound very noisy.
It's going to sound noisy. Do you think you'll be able to cope with that, Paul?
Oh, I would have thought.
Yeah, you got your earplugs. Nice one, guys. You only get one shot at this, so give it your very best one. I'll see you
Thank you.
afterwards. Well done.
Thank you.
Cheers.
This is it. The Series 10 Champions Cup hangs in the balance. Can the Rusty Regiment pull it off?
Rusty Regiment, go on the sound of my horn!
It's a slow and steady start for the regiment. They can't risk breaking that coupling or their clutch.
Yes.
Well done.
They're underway.
With that enormous plane on the move, it's time to give it some real welly.
There's a lot of smoke coming from the engine! I'm a little lost!
Speed is there.
Doing it really, really well. That is incredible.
Yeah, and it's quite smooth as well.
Very smooth.
Their ancient V8's working harder than it's ever worked before. And the Rusty Regiment crossed the line. We had our doubts about that engine, but that smokescreen was hiding some serious V8 firepower. But will it be enough to beat the Dark Riders?
Teams, well done. It was incredibly close. In the end, there were only 17 seconds in it.
But the winners of the 2007 10th Series Scrap Heap Challenge final are the Rusty Regiment! Yes! Check!
Go for it!
So it's a fond farewell to the Dark Riders. They've built some amazing machines and will have made their biker brethren proud. But they couldn't quite do enough to beat our new champions, the Rusty Regiment, whose succession of brilliant bulletproof designs has earned them a well-deserved place in the Scrap Heap Challenge record books.
And don't forget to join us again next week when the Rusty Regiment will be taking on last year's winners, Wolf Justice, in the most physical challenge of the year. We'll see you then.
That's right, our teams must build human-powered machines that can traverse surf and turf. It promises to be an adrenaline-fueled battle for the ultimate prize.